which is basically what we're doing right now. We've had a slew of Punk news come through today, mostly via the Observer, again, via our friends / some enemies that are at Wrestle Purist. Overall friends, though. They follow me on Twitter today. We're all good. First headline we got was that CM Punk is going to be, when he returns in Chicago next month, Meltzer said today in the Observer that Warner Brothers Discovery and their upfronts for advertisers. Obviously, they're going to be announcing everything at the Hulu Theater, which is opposite Madison Square Garden, which is amazing and the perfect place to announce a big deal coming up. That apparently the show is believed to be the show is believed to have the tagline of the second coming. That's what I'm going about. Speaking of offensive and possibly, I mean, if he's going back to full CM Punk Jesus, then maybe that's one thing. That was the first headline. The second one, Meltzer and the Observer today, was that Punk and the Elite, for an update on them. He said that from somewhere near the top, there's no close to any resolutions, and they have been, but things are more reasonable. Apparently, one person's willing to apologize and has wanted to for a while, but is not allowed to make any contact. That isn't Punk, apparently, according to Big Dave, as we don't know one way or the other what he's willing to do. And another person on that side that they believe that apologies are in order, but that there's more than one, and that Punk should be the first, but not the only one, is the quote that the Big Dave got today. And then the other Punk adjacent headline that kind of dropped yesterday via Fightful. I mentioned this on the Daily Update, but I can't let this one go by, JP. CM Punk has reportedly pushed for Samoa Joe to be one of his AEW return opponents. Fightful said sources close to Punk have indicated that he's become increasingly interested in working with Samoa Joe. Observer today didn't have more on that, but seemed to corroborate those reports. So that's what we're getting. The second coming of Wrestling Jesus, CM Punk, coming back, still hating the Elite, and potentially, JP, politicking Chris Jericho out of a program there and working with Samoa Joe the 19 years after their 1 hour matches. What do you think of all that?
In some ways, we've kind of, it's a perfect encapsulation of who he is, isn't it? In some ways, he's this big star who's the head of this show, with this overinflated ego, the second coming. All the while, there's a scrap, which he should definitely apologise in some context, but really isn't the one who's likely to apologise. He'll grind that out of them. And he has a cracking idea for a storyline. And it's not the one that they want to give to them. Because I won't lie, the Samoa Joe one is a great storyline to come in on. I'm up on that. But I did think about that, Simon. I mean, the Stone Roses didn't work out it wasn't too great second coming for that. Apart from Begging You, which is a cracking tune on there as well. But no, was
it a bad album? I wouldn't know. I know
it's not.
I know the singles. I know the main videos. JP, I don't know the albums.
My recollection. I haven't listened to that for a very, very, very long time. Like, the first album's just like called The Stone Roses. But like this one was just like, it's, if he has a match as good as Love Spreads, then I'll be happy.
Wow.
That as well. In all seriousness for it as well, I mean, like, it is the idea of this big show and the big kind of comeback and the rest of it. It's, like the second coming, it's controversial, isn't it, in many ways? And it's going to upset some people. Like, namely, not the Romans as much, but like, but like you kind of look at it, and it's just like it feels very much like all of the things for him. I mean, he's right about the Samoa Joe program as well. I'm sure the person who wants to apologize, like, unless it's the Bucks, Kenny, or Punk, if it's Ace Steel or Tony Khan who wants to apologize, then that's not really of any fucking use whatsoever. It has to be them, but you can't. They'll find a resolution for it, because if there's even discussions about apologies and the rest, then you know that there's a point where there is going to be some element of compromise. Just that Punk's going to be a dick about it.
That's the thing about it, because Meltzer's like reporting around it and like not directly saying what seems obvious at this point, that Punk's probably got a restraining order against the Elite. That's my only take at this point, based on that. The way he worded that, the Punk can't, the people can't apologize to Punk, and Punk isn't the one that we're talking about here. Like, that's what that says to me. Like, that's honestly what I think is going on. The Samoa Joe story, like I said it on the Daily Update, got to be careful what you wish for. Like, I am obviously gigantic Samoa Joe fan, gigantic CM Punk fan, love that trilogy. It's an excuse to talk about it on the podcast and do a mixtape or something like that. Do I want to see them go 60 minutes in 2023? No. Maybe as a one-off return match you can announce. Cool. But I can't even imagine what a feud between them two looks like. Like, what does it even look like? Like, is Punk going to be Punk going after Joe and being personal? Like, what do they even fight over? Like, it feels to me it's politics. It's Punk trying to play politics with Jericho. That's what I think.
I wouldn't be surprised, and more power to him. It's just that the Joe storyline is a bit more interesting, and they've got all that old Ring of Honor footage they can actually get some good use out of, and the rest of it. If you wanted to do something like it with it, and make kind of plenty of like cool packages and the rest of it that you could use, that's really, really cool. So I'm kind of more on board for it because it feels like they put together some good. Like, weirdly enough, all the long matches will be a thing of the past because I can see them putting together a fucking cracking 10 to 15 minute long match in the vein of Punk Eddie Kingston or something along those lines.
Show these kids how it's done. Maybe a one-off, like, they could do something. Maybe there's a